Good morning po sa ating lahat. Kami po ang Group 2 at kami po yung na-assign na mag-discuss ng dams. So, ang aim po netong discussion na ito is para malaman natin kung ano nga ba yung iba't ibang classifications, uses, types, benefits, and physical impacts ng isang dam. Pangalawa po is para ma-identify po natin yung different parts ng isang dam. Hindi lang po kasi siya pag sinabing dams barrier agad. Siyempre, meron din po siyang part, kagaya po ng spillways, reservoirs, at marami pang iba. Pangatlo is i-discuss din po natin dito yung geological design consideration ng isang dam. Dapat malaman din kasi natin yun kasi meron din mga bagay na kino-consider sa paggawa ng dam. Hindi lang siya basta masabi na, ay gawa tayo ng pa-curve na dam kasi ang cute tignan. Kagaya nga ng sinabi ko kanina, may mga bagay na kino-consider bakit ganun yung ginagawang itsura, bakit ganun yung ginagawang kapal na barrier, mga ganun po. Pang-apat is dito din natin malalaman kung ano nga ba ang may tutulong ng dam sa ating buhay. So bago po tayo magsimula sa ating discussion, mayroon lamang po akong kaunting trivia para sa inyo. First is, sabi dyan, the ancient Egyptians built the first known dam to exist. Yung mga ancient Egyptians po, sila po yung kauna-unahang nakapagtayo ng dam sa buong mundo. Hindi naman po lingid sa ating kaalaman na sila talaga yung mga pasimuno pagtungkol sa mga constructions. Hindi pa man nauso yung mga architectures, yung mga engineers, meron na sila. Ito daw po ay nagawa or yung kauna-unahang dam po ay nagawa around 2,950 to 2,750 BC. Pangalawa po is the Philippines have 15 large dams. According po iyan sa the International Journal on Hydropower and Dams. So, yun po, meron po daw tayong 15 large dams dito sa Pilipinas. At ang last trivia natin is, one of the largest dams in the Philippines is the Magat Dam. Itong Magat Dam is located dito sa Luzon, somewhere in Isabela sa Cagayan Valley, Region 2 siya. So yun nga, dako na tayo sa kung ano nga ba ang dam or ano yung naitutulong nito sa atin. So sabi dyan, dams are barriers usually constructed across a stream channel to impound water. Dams are typically provided with spillway systems to safely pass a broad range of flows over, around, or through the dam. So, ibig sabihin, yung dam is nakakatulong para mapigilan ng tuluyan yung pag-agos ng tubig. Kasi, imagine, wala tayong dam, it is possible na lumubog yung mga karating na lugar na talaga namang malapit sa dam. So, kung iniisip natin na ang dam is just a barrier na pumipigil sa pagbaha, hindi lamang iyan. Marami pang benefits tayong makukuha doon at mamaya maidi-discuss natin yan. Pag-usapan muna natin yung reasons kung bakit dumadating yung time na kailangan talagang magpakawala ng tubig sa dam. Kailangan nating malaman to kasi hindi tayo basta-basta pwedeng magalit sa mga nag-ooperate nun. Yung reason kasi ng mga operator dam kaya sila nagpapakawala ng tubig is to prevent severe destruction. Hindi nila ginagawa yun kasi trip lang nila. Ginagawa nila yun kasi yung dam is may capacity lang kung gaano lang karami yung tubig na pwedeng iimbak doon. Kung hindi sila magpapakawala ng tubig, maaaring masira yung barrier na naghuhul sa tubig, tuluyang mag-cause ng mas mapinsalang pangyayari. So, yun yung reason kung bakit nagpapakawala ng tubig sa lupa.
Let us now discuss the uses of dams. First, we have the irrigation. Major portion of water stored behind dams is withdrawn for irrigation. They are mainly used for crops, livestock, or plantations. Next, we have electrical generator. Water from dams can produce electricity. When the water is released through dam, it spins the turbine that is connected to a generator that produces or generate electricity. Next, flood control or flood prevention. Dams are made to protect against the potential loss of life and property that can be caused by flooding. Dams protect by collecting and holding water. But once they are collected, a dam might release the water back into the river at a controlled speed, or it may divert the water somewhere else for other uses. Next, we have water storage or water supply. Dams play an important role in the water supply for domestic, agricultural, industrial, and community use. Water that are stored in the dam can be used during dry season or during the shortage of times. Next, we have the debris control. Here, dams provide enhanced environmental protection, such as the retention of hazardous materials and detrimental sedimentation. Next, we have the recreation. Dams are built for more than one purpose. Dams can also provide recreational activities, such as swimming, boating, and fishing. Next, we have mine tailings. Tailing dams are used to store water and waste that come as byproducts from mining process. It allows the mining and other processing vital minerals while protecting the environment. And lastly, the navigation. Inland navigation, it refers to the transport with ships through means of inland waterway. There are various water conditions, such as changing rivers due to sedimentation and erosion. To overcome those kind of problems, dams are built and they effectively serve the function of controlling the water level, as well as changing the course of waterways.
Types of dams. We have bistructural, by use, and other types. First, we discuss bistructural. Arc dam, a concrete or masonry dam which is curved upstream so as to transmit the major part of the water load to the abutments. Uses hydrostatic pressure to transfer the force of water to the foundation and abutments of the dam. The force of the water on the fill side pushes against the arc and resulting resistance to bending transfers the loads to the abutments. Next, gravity dam. So a gravity dam is a massive man-made concrete dam designed to hold large volumes of water. Because of heavy concrete use, it is able to resist the horizontal thrust of the water, and gravity essentially holds the dam to the ground. They are used to block rivers in wild valleys and must be built on a strong foundation of bedrock. Next, buttress dam. Buttress dams can take many forms, but they all consist of a sloping deck supported by intervals of buttresses. There are three main buttress dams, including multiple arc type, massive head type, and deck type. Buttress dams usually use less concrete than other dams but are not necessarily cheaper. Next, embankment dam. An embankment dam is a large artificial dam that is constructed with natural excavated materials or industrial waste materials, such as compacted plastics and various compositions of soil, sand, rock, and clay. By use. Saddle dam, a subsidiary dam of any type constructed across a saddle or low point of the perimeter of a reservoir. Diversion dam. A diversion dam is used to divert water. They provide pressure to push water into ditches, canals, or other areas used to conveyance. Diversion dams are typically lower in height and have a small water storage area in its upstream. Next, underground dam. Used to trap groundwater and store all or most of it below the surface for extended use in a localized area. In some cases, they are also built to prevent salt water from intruding into a freshwater aquifer. Next, other types. First, Cofferdam. A cofferdam is a temporary portable dam used for a variety of projects including bridge repair, shoreline restoration, pipeline installation, and many other construction projects. Hydropower dam, a dam that uses the difference in water level between the reservoir pool elevation and the tailwater elevation to turn a turbine to generate electricity. And last, industrial waste dam. An embankment dam usually built in stages to create storage for the disposal of waste products from an industrial process. The waste products are conveyed as fine material suspended in water to the reservoir impounded by embankment.
So next, pag-usapan naman natin is yung how hydropower dam work. Kahit yung basic principle lang. So, syempre, first thing first, kailangan natin is yung water. The water reservoir. Kailangan natin yun because of its potential energy. And that water will soon travel into a penstock, which is this. Yung steep passage ng water papunta dun sa turbine. And due to the force of water, the turbine will start to rotate the shaft that is connected into a generator, which is this. Papunta sa generator natin. And by this, mechanical energy will convert into electricity. And after mag-gain ng electricity, the current will travel into transformer so that the voltage of the electricity can be raised para mas ma-maximize yung nakukuha natin na energy. And there we have it. That's the basic principle of hydropower dam. Meron na tayong renewable energy that is ready to distribute into our community.
Ang susunod na pag-uusapan naman natin is the structure of a dam. As you can see on your screen, this is the cross-sectional view of a dam wherein this side is called the upstream side and this side is called the downstream side. Sa foundation ng dam, there is a hill which is associated with the ground on the upstream side and on its opposite side, which is associated with the ground on a downstream side, which is called a toe. So may makikita naman kayo na opening near the ground level, and that one is called a sluiceway. So it is used to block the silt or a fine aggregate na natatangay ng running water. The next one is the drainage gallery. This one is a small room or pathway which has an access into the interior of a dam. So next is the spillway. So actually there are two types of spillway. And in this view, makikita natin na this one is a principal spillway and this is the main spillway. And the other type is called the emergency spillway na makikita natin sa next slide. So later. So the emergency spillway is an S-shape forming a curve for a purpose of preventing the water from rushing out, which may damage the downstream area near the bottom of the dam. So next is the crest. So this one is located at the topmost of a dam, and this one is the overflow part ng isang dam. Next is the parapet wall. So this is built for the protection of the people. And next is the roadway. So it is assigned for vehicles. So this view, may makikita tayong upstream, downstream, and yung emergency spillway na diniscuss a while ago. So, meron pang ibang part, which is the abutment. So, yung abutment, this is where the dam rests, and it is located at the sides of the valley. And there are other parts of a dam that may not be visible on the images that I've shown you. And one of it is the appurtenances. These are some equipments in a dam such as gates, pipes, and others. And lastly, yung powerhouse, wherein
This is where the generators are located. So that's all for the structure of a dam. Thank you.
The benefits of dams. Dams provide hydroelectric power. Hydroelectric power is a renewable energy source that generates electricity in hydropower plants by using water stored in dams and flowing through rivers. The flowing water drives the blades of a turbine, which spins the generator, which turns the spinning turbine's mechanical energy into electrical energy. Hydroelectric power contributes to a large portion of global electricity generations. Next is dams also provide better irrigation. A dam generates a reservoir that may be utilized as a great source of water, particularly for agricultural and industrial purposes. Dams had been utilized for irrigations for ages. The next is dams can also control flood. Flooding may be devastating for many places, particularly if neighboring water supplies are difficult to manage. Dams can divert waters to other locations, keeping towns safe or allowing additional land to be developed. Flood control dams are designed to reduce flooding by impounding water and safely directing it to other locations. The next one is dams can provide better navigation. Dams may store water and reduce the flow rate by raising the water level upstream. This makes it easier for ships and boats to navigate, and it permits rocks and sandbanks that were formerly exposed or in shallow water to become fully hidden. The last one is dams also improve tourism in an area. The increased usage of recreation can provide employment for local people and money for the local economy, which is one of the advantages of dams on tourism. Recreational activities such as fishing, boating, swimming, and water sports can be facilitated by storing water behind the dam.
Yan. Punta tayo sa physical impacts of dams. So, kanina, nireport yung benefit ng dams. Kasi yung dams, pwede siyang mag-store ng water, and dams can also prevent floodings, pero at the same time, may mga negative effects din yung dam. So, yung first one, habitat destruction. When dams are being constructed, the marine living things will lose their habitats na pwedeng mag-result ng reducing of fish populations, pero ang worst na possibility na pwedeng mangyari is extinction. Yung pangalawa, water pollution. Nagka-cause ng water pollution yung dam kasi since kontrolado na ng dam kung saan pwede mag-flow yung water, nagiging stagnant yung water. And kapag naging stagnant na yung water, meaning hindi na siya pwedeng gamitin, hindi na siya considered na quality ng water. Parang ganun. Yung pangatlo, high cost and risk in disaster. So, itong physical impact na to, nag-o-occur siya kasi may mga situation na pwedeng mag-break or mag-collapse yung dam dahil sa design flaw kung sino yung gumawa, mga engineer or age, tsaka poor maintenance. At kapag nangyari yon, nagkakos siya ng massive floodwaters na hindi natin kontrolado. And yung pang-apat, damaging to environment. Parang katulad lang din siya sa water pollution kasi kontrolado na ng dam yung flow ng water. Sa ilalim ng reservoir, nauubusan ng oxygen, and kapag na-depleted yung oxygen, nakakapag-produce siya ng methane gas. And yung methane gas, nakakapag-contribute siya sa global climate change and nakakapag-deprive ng nutrients sa ecosystem. And yung panglima, sediment load. Yung sediment load, nag-o-occur siya kapag yung water nag-flow sa dam. Nagka-create ng spot para sa sediments and matatrap yung sediment. So, kapag natrap yung sediment, malaki yung possibility na it can pollute the water and the ecology of the water environment ay madi-disrupt.
Next one is design considerations. There are many things to consider in designing big structures like dam. Due to its environmental and economic effect, dams are carefully designed in order to serve its function, and geological condition and other important factors are the first one to consider to have a safe and fully functional dams. So, here are the things to consider. The first one is topography. The initial option of dam type is dictated by topography, since ideal conditions are rare in uneven terrain that dam sites usually encounter. A concrete overflow dam would be suggested by a small U-shaped valley, like a narrow stream flowing between steep rocky walls, or an earth-filled dam with different spillways would be appropriate in a low-plain area. Or, in a small V-shaped valley, the choice will be an arc dam. Next is geology and foundation condition. Because the foundation must bear the weight of the dam, they should be extensively investigated, since rock structures may directly damage the dam, especially if there is a presence of joints, highly folded rocks, and other structural features underneath it. Next is availability of material. Another key consideration when choosing a dam type is the availability of material. The materials necessary for dam buildings must be accessible locally or within a short distance of the building site in order to ensure cost effectiveness. Next is spillway size and location. The extra river discharge is exposed at a spillway. The spillway's capacity will be determined by the severely the floods that will be bypassed. On rivers and streams with high flood potential, the spillway is consequently considerably more crucial. Next is earthquake zone. Ideally, dams should not be built on an earthquake zone, but if so, it must be highly engineered and designed to withstand seismic forces. Earthen dams and concrete gravity dams are structures most adapted to withstand earthquake shocks without posing a threat. And lastly, height of a dam. Height of a dam may vary. For a height of more exceeding 30 meters, earthen dams are normally not supplied. Gravity dams are usually selected at a higher or greater heights. In conclusion, dams are designed basically to ensure the safety of everyone, but is generally dictated by the site or the location and the budget allocation.
Geological hazards. We have different geological hazards that may occur in our dams. The example of this is mud flows, torrents, ground settlement due to consolidation of compressible soils or due to collapsible soils, ground subsidence and sinkholes, overtopping in dams, tsunami because of the destruction of our dams, earthquakes, landslides, and mountain collapses.
In conclusion, a dam is needed to help us from our everyday life. If it isn't for dams that are built, we wouldn't have clean water to drink and use for our baths, irrigation, and many other things that needs water. Building dams are indeed made our life easier. Thanks to these dams that we are able to maintain water flow and to always have water coming from our faucets when needed. We are able to drink clean water and avoid extreme floods. We hope that you were able to understand and has learned a lot from this topic, the types, benefits, use, and a need of them.
That's all for today. Thank you and God bless.